I think we will move again back to the focus of our current episode. That how, because India is such a vast country and NKN pipe is coming and going, and a lot of differentiators are being required. Now the five-star landscapes and the lawns which we see at the engineering colleges have ceased to become the differentiators. The kind of, I think technology is taking that role, because if you are located in a far off place, so what is the technological matrix which you will advocate for an engineering institution? Because still there is not much awareness about that, what should be the larger landscape and what kind of investment I would be putting into. Because every now and then it's a product based approach. Every new technological company is pushing one product or the other. But as a larger vision, how the synthesis between a classroom teaching empowered by technological enabled teaching would make the education in the next era. And
so probably from a student's perspective, I think let me answer your previous question, which was how would a student select a college?
Yeah.
I think the primary thing you need to look at is what is going to happen from a hands-on experience. What is the kind of exposure that I as a student am going to get in that institute? Forget the fancy, residences or hostels or whatever they may have. That's pus. Now you can't do that. On that basis, even a halwai can open a university. So you no longer need to do that. You need to figure out what is the hands-on stuff that you get, the kind of projects that you can get. Can that college, say, assuming it is in a remote location, do I have MSMEs, the small and medium enterprises around that area? Can I go out there, figure out what are the issues or problems that they're having? Can I work with them and resolve those issues? That's what a college can give you, and that's the college you should go to.
Little more than that, if there are no SMEs around, create the SMEs by your own efforts.
Yeah.
Which means your engineering education should give you that knack to create startups and make that area a Silicon Valley of engineering of tomorrow. That's the capital. But I think the context is what can technology do?
Yeah.
My first advice would be technology savvy. And our students are far more technology savvy than perhaps learned teachers are. They immediately use their mobile more frequently. If I would have been coming here, I have to ask 10 people where is Business India Complex. A young man who is a student of Delhi Technological University would have used his phone and used the GPS and reached here without losing vital 10 minutes for which I had to be delayed. Now, if they start using technology, I think in campuses of engineering, of course, the National Knowledge Commission is doing a great job. I'm all for it. But till such time that pipe really comes to institution, nothing wrong in using whatever level of technology you have. Your pocket today with that little gadget called mobile is empowering you to have that vital connectivity. You can use it. You can even have innovations by which any kind of mobile connectivity which I have can be connected to my laptop or tablet or whatever, Android, whatever it is. Today it is restricted to iPhone to my Android. Tomorrow I can do this if I am a real engineer or real IT engineer or a computer engineer or electronic engineer. I can connect any phone to any device, create the capital. So technology can do wonder. But biggest wonder it will do, I think that's where the catch lies. Today we all are crying about faculty shortage in this country. We have expanded education, but we have not built up the vital faculty capacity. You would stop crying for faculty shortage tomorrow if you use technology, because you will develop, in fact, an environment in which teacher and student will learn together through the technology-enabled environment which you have. And the esteem and vital eminence of the learned teachers in great institutions would then be made available to millions more compared to a few hundred to which it is limited to in their own institution. This is the advantage. And the beginning is start using the level of technology which you already possess in your pocket or in your lab or on your
Ravi, what kind of technological preparedness do you see in the colleges, and what kind of index should students should actually look for if a college has an NPTEL? So somewhere or the other it is much better than a college which does not have an NPTEL in that geography. If a college has a better bandwidth compared to a college which has a lesser bandwidth. So probably you can enlighten us more on this aspect.
Use of technology after getting into college is an aspect, but I would like to get reflections of the panel on is technology a solution, or can the technology provide a solution on a situation like this, wherein Sir, the peak of queries. I mean, I'll just share a small instance with you. 2.5 years back, Engineering Watch just wanted to see that what is the state of students mentally. How do they feel about? How do they take decisions about entering into colleges? And we had released a small press release in one of the local newspapers in Uttar Pradesh. We were inundated with the kind of queries that we had got. I think there were 1,000 queries a day, something to the tune of 1,000 queries a day we started getting on how do we choose college, how do we choose branch, and so on and so forth. So one of the question is, can technology answer that question that suddenly after the schools are over, in this 2 to 3 months of time, we are inundated with the queries on students are helpless, they are directionless on what to choose, how to choose. That is one. Second, sir, with your presence here, I want your reflection on this thought. Isn't the time has come, from a corporate or industry perspective, if I were running an industry, I would have thought as an engineering owner of engineering college or university, I would have thought where my source is coming. Let me go there and kind of see them and kind of guide them. So isn't it the time has come, state technical university or the private university or the colleges, maybe the state technical university, they give a mandate, going back to schools and explain them during their final year of 12th.
Ravi, it's already
explain
happening.
them.
It's already happening, and you'll see a lot of the universities have call centers. They're calling up students in the respective schools who are not even graduated from class 12 and apprising them of their university, the benefits that they have, and what is the future that is in store for them. So all that is happening. And as sir said, probably the students are digital natives. They are the ones who have been actually utilizing technology right from the word go. If you look at today a small 2-year kid, he can operate a remote or an iPhone or things. I had a very weird experience where my nephew was trying to go and instead of finding a click button, he was trying to swipe on the TV screen because they're so used to that. So that's where technology comes in, and technology specifically what sir was talking about. I'll give you a live example. There is a management institute which is actually running a flipped classroom, and I don't know if your students know what a flipped classroom is. In India, and this is happening in India in a remote tier 2 town, where the students are first exposed to the lectures through a video. They do the video at their hostel, and then they come to the class only for discussions and interactions. And that is what the future is going to be. You will no longer have the sage on the stage. You will have facilitators who are there, and you will be running where all the assignments etc. are uploaded on the site or on a learner management system. Or you will have things which are incubation centers. For example, Microsoft runs innovative centers or innovation centers across almost about a huge number of engineering institutes. So there is a lot of things. Why don't students build apps for phones, apps for say a Windows 8? They get monetized for it. That's what the students should be doing.
I think this point which Ravi really raised, and surely Lokesh is convincing us that lot many universities and institutions are reaching out to students themselves, but the attraction of reaching out is primary to catch them in an institution. The attraction is not to showcase the thrill, the excitement and the joy of engineering.
Or evangelize engineering as a career.
And built up in them that euphoria for joining engineering, for solving the life problems of the society and creating tomorrow's industries or tomorrow's technologies which will empower us with infinite capabilities and specialized skills which humans are supposed to possess. So I think in this direction, I think my suggestion would be, and Microsoft can certainly help us out in this, and National Knowledge Commission can also pool its resources together. Why don't we think of creating a warehouse of engineering education in India? And once you create the knowledge warehouse, not just ordinary warehouse, knowledge warehouse, as again data warehouses, knowledge warehouse of engineering education in India, which should educate you by press of a button and tell you more about a particular branch, its applications, its thrill, excitement, what kind of person it expects to join, what kind of attitude of mind it requires, what kind of flair it requires from an individual, and what kind of future it has in store for the mankind, those kind of things. And also at the same time enough knowledge about what is the state of this education in India, where could you go for the very best, where could you go for that cluster where you find that this is happening, where could you go to an institution which may not be happening in this area, but you, by joining it, could perhaps make it better. Delhi College of Engineering was not an institution for computer engineering earlier when I joined in 1990. But I had mechanical engineering fellows who were deeply interested in computer engineering. They started working on networking and all those in those days. And my mechanical fellows were trying to fail them by saying that he is not studying mechanical engineering. I said, let him do it. Because the campus was filled with a lot of wires hanging around everywhere, connecting blocks, connecting classrooms and whatnot. The chap who did mechanical engineering later on became one of the top leaders in terms of research and development and networking for the IT company. So you have to facilitate that environment. I think the knowledge warehouse for technical education in India could be a project which could be commissioned even by Education Watch. Technology universities like mine would be very happy to join, and I'm sure Microsoft and leading organizations which are desirous of change will join.
I think we are coming to a close of this special episode of ours. The jury is quite clear that technology can really do the wonder, and engineering education in India is probably at an inflection point where a great need has been envisioned by all the industry leaders as well as the academic leaders that engineering as a career has future. There is no discouragement and students should opt for engineering as a profession. The only thing is they have to see the larger picture beyond a BTech in chemical engineering or a BTech in electronic engineering. It is a larger purview they have to see, and eventually the pitch at which we started this episode, that how technology is breaking the geographical barriers. Not every student, the 15 lakh students, can't come to the metros, can't come to the larger cities. Enough opportunities are there, enough problems are there in the local vicinities, the engineering institutions are there. The only thing is that technology is differentiating the entire narrative. But before we end, I would like to request our panelists, especially Professor Sharma and Mr. Mehra, to cite at least 5 technological parameters or indices which a student should really explore for in an institution if he has to make a selection. Because let the technological preparedness of an engineering institution should become a parameter instead of just a blind ranking which has been going all through these days. Every college has its own constraints and challenges and all. So what are the 5 technological parameters which a student should actually focus upon?
It's like placing me at the age of 17 and asking me what I should look for, where should I go. Really speaking, if I would have been at the age of near 17 looking for engineering education, I will go to an engineering education where environment is supportive to the growth of creativity, innovativeness, and has an open environment by which I am able to really grow taller rather than in a tight jacketed environment where I would be costed. Having said this, I think the students should surely assess an institution from the point of view of what it has offered so far, what it has done to the society, what it has done to the industry, and what kind of technology preparedness it has for its own classrooms, for its connected laboratories, for portals and programs which it has put together as innovative programs, whether it has the right understanding of engineering of today, engineering of tomorrow. Would it allow tomorrow a student to teach teachers? Would it allow a student and teachers together to deliver the curriculum? Would it then, and also they should look at what kind of industry interface it has, whether industry is a partner in progress in that institution or not already. If not, even then if I have been forced to go to that institution, I would make it happen that industry and institution, they become partners in progress. Today, neither the industry really knows the last word on the subject matter, and nor the dons of the university currently can say with confidence that they know the last word of the subject. That's the situation in which we are. They are driven by the advancement, rapid advancement of science and technology, and therefore I think this is the right time that we need to put our hands together. Let me finish by saying that it's not just enough for me and Lokesh to be friendly. That means university and industry to come together. I would rather look for an institution which creates Panchamrit, which means institution where academia, the industry, the government, the society, and surely its connectivity to research and development organization and professional society is right there. Whether this institution has a working partnership with the industry on one hand, the government on the other, the R&D organizations, the professional society here, and my own society for which it is conscious. I would not go to an institution which cares health for the society. I would not like to join an institution which I never thought that engineering is not for just jobs, but it is for creating tomorrow's society where prosperity and happiness together would be the hallmark, rather than really speaking our rush for jobs and packages and prosperity. Let you also really take it seriously that one of the biggest mistakes which we are making in this country, often we think that engineering is devoid of humanism or humanity. Really speaking, somebody asked me yesterday, who is an engineer? I said, engineer is one who fears none other than himself and the society. He has to be scared of himself, which means he makes the correct decisions. His thoughts and his actions must collect together in the right direction to arrive at the right solution and its right execution for the benefit of the. But he must be concerned about the society. He should be afraid of the society because minor mistakes made by engineers could create major havocs. And therefore, we need to create an environment in engineering institutions where the thrill and excitement and joy of engineering and science together creates that intense desire to keep the interest of society close to our heart. That's engineering of today and should be engineering of tomorrow necessarily in this country.
So 5 points. Number 1, infrastructure. As sir said, look for genuine software for sure. Number 2, ensure that they do have a social responsibility, and you can check it out from the respective sites or portals. Number 3, it is what I call as GUI. In the IT world, it is called graphical user interface, but in our terms today, we'll call it government, university, industry interface. So that's number 3. Number 4, especially look at the output in terms of whether they have created entrepreneurs or not, or it is just a factory mode where they're churning out people who get employed. I think that's very important. And number 5, look specifically for the research and innovation, what has happened, the kind of patents that have been filed by the faculty or what the college has achieved in terms of accolades and awards. And to sum it all up, as students, I would just mention, what you ought to do is, people are never going to ask you where you have come from. They'll always ask you, where are you going? And that can only happen when you have the talent and the passion for it.
I think Lokesh sir's GUI and Professor Sharma's Panchamritam sums it up all. There is no debate of the fact that engineering is a real fantastic career, and with the unraveling of the Indian economy, which has to grow by leaps and bounds in years to come to become a global superpower, which obviously a lot of nationalists are aiming for, and the kind of India has surpassed the 3rd largest economy of the world recently. So engineering career as a passion has to be pursued. Any course of engineering, it doesn't matter. The branches of engineering are just getting integrated in times to come, and by the time you will be graduating, probably there would be a different kind of etymology, different kind of I will say the signature by which an engineer would be known across. The parameters which sir said in the wider framework that the college should have, the interface is very, very vital, because no one has the last word about what the future would lie into. So the college should have magnanimous, massive interface with the industry, with the government, either it's local or the regional, state government or the national level. Interface with the society at large. The social aspect of a college is very, very important, because that is where the problems for the engineers are emanating from. The pollution, because where there is a challenge, there is a drive, and a lot of excellence will flow into there. So I think it has been a very, very meaningful interaction today. We would wait for yet another fantastic interaction under the Why Engineering series on Sunday. We would be having Professor B.C. Mal from the Chhattisgarh Swami Technical University, and Professor Mal would be talking more